everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Golden Broom Podcast. Thank you for joining in this Sunday evening. Tonight, I'll be going solo during this interview. We have Chris. He's out today, so hope everything's okay. And yeah, wish you the best. But show must go on, as they say. So thank you all for tuning in. For tonight's guest, we have the head coach of Spalding University Baseball out of Louisville, Kentucky. And let's go ahead and welcome to the show none other than Coach Larry Owens. Hello, Coach, and welcome to the Golden Broom. I'm glad you can join us this evening.
Hey, Terry, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So before I begin, I'd just like to say just my own personal knowledge. I don't want to say anything to make sure I got it right. Now, is it Division II or Division III that Spalding is in?
NCAA Division III.
Division III, okay. Sweet. So, like I said, thank you again. I know you just came in from some travel ball, as you said.
Right.
So without further ado, I'd like to give you the floor at this point in time to go ahead and tell us who is Larry Owens and his history with the game of baseball.
Well, I think it's close to 32 years in baseball. Played obviously in high school, played in college, played a year minor league baseball with the Atlanta Braves. So it was a 1990 draft, 27th round pick, went to Armstrong State College, graduated from there. Then I was out of baseball for a year, but then got back in it, coached in high school for 2 years at Jeffersonville High School here in Indiana, where I live right now, which is right across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. Then I spent a couple years at Wabash Valley Junior College as a recruiting coordinator and pitching coach there in Illinois, in Southern Illinois. Then I got the opportunity to be the volunteer assistant at Southwest Missouri State. But in the process, in mid-year, the volunteer job came open at the University of Louisville. And so it was an opportunity to kind of get back home. So I came back home, and I was there for 2 seasons. From there, I went to Austin Peay State University. I spent 2 years there. Then got the job at the University of Memphis with Dave Anderson, former Major League player with the Dodgers and Giants, who's also become a really great friend of mine. And then when Dave left Memphis, I had the opportunity to get involved in independent ball. So I went out in San Diego and worked for Terry Kennedy as the pitching coach for the San Diego Surf Dogs in 2005. That was the year Ricky Henderson played for us. That was pretty neat. Wow. And then I got a scouting job with the Red Sox in 2006. I covered the 4-state area here. I covered Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and Michigan. And then that kind of parlayed into a job with the White Sox where I got back on the field. Spent 7 years as a minor league pitching coach for the White Sox from 7 to 13. And then the head baseball job came open at Bellarmine University here in Louisville. So I was going to begin to miss a lot of things that my young kids were doing and jumped on that opportunity. I was there 9 years. Saw the transition from Division II to Division I. We were Division II for my first 7 years. The last 2 years we were Division I. I resigned that job after the 22 season and was out of baseball for 3 years. I was a high school athletics director at Jeffersonville High School here where I live and where I went to high school. Missed baseball terribly. Resigned that job in May of 25, went to the Appalachian League, hooked back up with my buddy Dave Anderson, helped him out in the Appalachian League, which is now a collegiate summer league. Spent the summer there and was seeking a job back in baseball. And then the job came open in December of 25, mid-December of 25, and Brian Kleinert at the athletics director at Spalding called me and asked me if I'd be interested in the job, and absolutely was, and took the job in mid-December, and here we are. So been a head coach at Division III now, Division I, Division II, coached junior college baseball, coached in high school, played Division II baseball, played in the minor leagues. So pretty extensive, baseball background, and just really fortunate. Took me a lot of places, got to see a lot of things, meet a lot of great people, and be around a lot of great players. So it's been great and awesome. Love it.
That's awesome. Now you mentioned the Seattle Sea Dogs or Surf Dogs?
San Diego Surf Dogs.
San Diego, sorry.
Diego, yeah.
Forgive me.
Yeah. South.
Now, is that Is that a minor league team? I take it.
At the time, I believe I'm not even sure that the team. I don't think the team exists anymore. I think they merged with I want to say they merged with the American Association. It used to be it was the Golden League. The first year of the league was 05. I think it ran pretty good for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years. I don't know exactly. And then I think the teams kind of merged with the American Association. But the first year of the league was 05, and that's when I was there. I was there with actually Terry Kennedy was the manager, but Dan Chalowski was the hitting coach. His son was just the first pick in the country. This past draft, Rock Chalowski. So pretty cool.
But like when I heard Ricky Henderson, I was like, wow, what was that like?
Crazy. It was surreal. It was wild. It was, you grow up. I mean, he's not a great deal older than I am, but old enough that I obviously really loved, watching what he did and watching him play. But then, just getting to know what he was like. I mean, he was really, really, the one thing that stuck out to me was that he was really good to the young players. He was what he was supposed to be. He's a really, really good teammate and really did everything he could to help young kids, do what they needed to do to, follow their dreams of, maybe playing in the big leagues one day. And I think we actually we had one kid off that independent league team that went on to play in the big leagues. We had 3 or 4 that had already played, but Cody Clark, who ended up catching a little bit in an Astros organization, ended up being the bullpen catcher for the Royals when they won the World Series. Cody's dad used to be the assistant at Arkansas for Norm DeBryan. So pretty cool. There are a lot of connections. That's baseball for you, full of connections here or there. But it was a great experience. It was really neat for me to, like throwing BP to him was like, I throw really good BP. I have no problem doing it. But man, when he got in, I'm like, all the things that you don't want to happen get in your head, like, don't hit him. Don't hit him. I'm left-handed and right-handed hitter. So, it was neat, man. It was really fun. It was really cool summer. Kids dug it. I dug it. It was, being around TK, being around other managers in the league. All those guys had big league experience. It was a really, really fun summer for me. 2005.
I bet. I think that summer I was actually on my first deployment in Iraq during that time. So, but it was a hot one there too. But I would have much rather have had your summer, from the sounds of it.
Well, thank you for doing that. You were doing a lot more important things than we were. That's for sure. My goodness.
I appreciate it. Wow. So we'll jump right into, let's talk about Spalding University itself. Now I know you just said you accepted the position. This is back in December. So again, congrats with that. Wish you nothing but success, with that. I know there'll probably be some tumultuous times, as we all know, when there's a coaching change like that. But, as we know, those don't always last. Now, the first set of questions I'm going to get into is recruiting itself before we dip into, philosophy and everything. Now, obviously, I know there's going to be some challenges being in Louisville because obviously you have a big D1 school, as we all know, as Louisville Cardinals. But what are some pros and cons of recruiting at the Division III level, if you've had any so far that you face?
I don't think there's any cons. I mean, it's like any other level. You got to recruit kids that are good fits for the level at which you're playing. You still want good baseball players. You still want you want the same type of kid. You just have to be, experienced enough, and it's not that difficult to see. But you have to kind of be experienced enough to know what you see, and you may not have a chance. I'm not gonna go head to head with Louisville against. I'm not gonna go head to head against Louisville on some players. I'm not going to go head to head with Bellarmine. Bellarmine University is right here in Louisville as well. That's another Division I school. So, the recruiting kind of sorts itself out, as you go, and you got to, at times you got to wait for the kids that have, big Division I dreams or dreams of them playing at a higher level than maybe they're capable of, which is common. You want people to think highly of themselves. You want them to be confident. But, you also want them to be realistic. And, occasionally you get some kids that maybe think they can play at a little bit higher level and they got to come down to earth. But at the same time, then there's a boatload of guys that just want an opportunity, want a chance to play. Recruiting, it doesn't, I don't think it's any different at any level. It's just, you have to be sensible enough to go after kids that can obviously play at your level. There is a difference at each level, but you still want the same types of kids. You want, it's easy to go out and grade what they can do. You can go out and watch a kid play and, you can grade out his bat, his arm, his glove, his legs. And, the hardest thing to grade is his makeup. What kind of person is he? What kind of teammate is he? And that's where you got to kind of dig in a little bit and talk to as many people as you can. And, to me, that's one of the most important things. We want, at the past two schools I've been at, Spalding and Bellarmine, we seek high achieving students, and usually high achieving students typically have good makeup. They do the right things. I don't want to deal with issues in the classroom. I don't want to deal with kids that are going to struggle to go to class or things like that. So you just want to recruit, good people that, to me, that love to play baseball, great makeup and guys that just love the game and want to play it. And the thing that I've experienced now at this level, when kids, I don't know, I've experienced kids just walk away from the game at this level. There's nowhere else. There's not a whole lot underneath this, Yeah. Potentially if they're a freshman, if they want to go to a junior college, they could, if they want to change the scenery. But, so I think if we do, and I've had a few guys on this club already, after the school year, they're just walking away from baseball. I don't want that. It's not a knock on them, and kids need to do what they want to do the rest of their lives. Baseball doesn't define them, and it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if they don't play. But I do want people that love to play. I don't want them to walk. I want them to want to play professional baseball is what I would like them to want to do. All the while being realistic enough to know that, it may not be in the cards for a great majority of the kids that we have. But I want them to want to do that. I want them to love the game enough that they're going to stick it out and they're going to play with us for 4 years and, help us do what we want to do.
Now with because and I agree right there. It leads me into my next question. If you have, let's say, there's a recruit you're going after. Now there's it's teetering between. He's been contacted by Division II schools. He won't necessarily start right away, but at your level, he could be a surefire stud. And then if he decides to transfer later on, or whatever he decides to do for his journey, what sort of sales pitch do you say? Try to convince him, hey, if you want early playing time, and it could be a sure thing at Division III, not necessarily going to be at Division II. How would you try to lure him away from?
Yeah, it's not. There's no guarantees. They still have to perform, and there's always going to be. You always want to have that competition on your club for playing time. There's no guarantees. I can't guarantee them playing time. Realistically, logically, it's a lower level. They should maybe generally have more of an opportunity to play at our level than they would maybe where they're going. But it depends on the kid. It depends on is it a kid that maybe he's between the mid-major Division I and Division II level? Mm-hmm. Well, he may play a lot at the Division II level. Well, he play probably a little more at ours. You just got to find the right fit. Does the guy want to? It all comes down to how much do they want to play? Do they want to play? Do they want to get out on the field and have an opportunity to play? Then sometimes I think, and that's case by case, they may have to look at maybe a bit of a lower level. I think the other thing that we have an advantage is that we have a pretty experienced. I'm a pretty experienced guy in baseball. I'm not a young guy at a lower level, learning my way. I've had some experience, and I think that's valuable, and I think that can help. Where you talked about, you can expect some tumultuous times at with the coaching change. I'd like to think that my experience in baseball maybe simmered that or calmed that down a little bit. We haven't had any issues, and I don't expect any, because I think when you treat people right and communicate with them and let them know their role and make sure they know where they stand, then things tend to go a lot smoother. But in regards to a sales pitch or whatever, I'm just honest. I'm gonna tell you the way it's gonna be. Here's how I'm gonna treat you. It's not gonna be a bunch of yelling and screaming. It's gonna be more of a professional approach. Treat you like a human being. You're someone's kid, so I gotta let you know when you don't do what you're being asked or what you're supposed to do, and I've got to support and praise you when you do things that you're supposed to do. And it's just you treat them right and communicate with them. I think you lessen those issues that come up. You minimize those things. But I don't know if that long answer.
No, that was a good one. That was a very good one. And I was looking at, as far as location, I mean, first of all, you're in the middle of Louisville. Obviously a very heavily populated city, but not just Louisville. It looks like to the northwest, maybe 2.5 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong. You got Indianapolis. You have Cincinnati not too far away, as well as Columbus, even Lexington over to the east. So, I mean, as far as the reach for the school, for the roster, I mean, it seems like it's in a pretty prime location.
Yeah, it's a great
with all these
location.
major cities all around.
It's a great location, and I don't think like it'd be like when I was at Bellarmine. It's the same type of, I think the same, obviously, I don't think you have to change much. Cincinnati's an hour and a half away. South side of Indianapolis is an hour and a half away. You're 5 hours from Chicago, 2 hours, 45 minutes from Nashville, although it's a little bit more difficult to get kids from the South to come up. However, we do have some. St. Louis is 4 hours away. Evansville's 90-mile, hour and a half away. I mean, we're in a good spot. Baseball's good in this area, in this region, and there's plenty of players. So it's it's great. I think smaller schools like us, we typically, the guys you generally pull from are about a 3-hour radius, from where we are. But last year's club, our third baseman was from Texas. We returned a first baseman catcher from Georgia, catcher from Tennessee, outfielder from Tennessee. We pull from a little bit. The previous staff pulled from the southern states more so than I would have thought. But we got some kids from all over, and a good chunk of kids from the Louisville area.
Nice. Now as far as overall relationship with coaches from not necessarily in your level or within your division, but let's say whether it's JUCO or Division II, do you guys kind of have like a pipeline established to where, like, say a JUCO coach say, hey, this kid's performing well ahead of schedule. We'd like to send him your way, and then vice versa. You think that one, or same with Division I, Division II.
Here on the current roster, we don't have a lot of junior college kids, if any. I don't know that we have any. I'm not opposed to it. I've done it before. And we know, our staff, yes, we know plenty of JC coaches in the area, in the region that can help us. High school is where we'll probably, and that's what I'd kind of prefer. I mean, I'd prefer building the roster with high school kids and then filling in with, there are 4-year transfers in the era of the transfer portal. I mean, that's a pretty important piece, as well as junior college. So I don't think we're ready to have a roster full of transfers, but I do think that they can, fill some important gaps, when you have immediate needs or you need to have a need for an older guy, experienced guy, it's the way to go. We're trying to do it right now. We're still seeking a few guys, just kind of, getting in the portal and trying to just kind of finalize some things with our roster. And again, just kind of waiting for some guys to kind of come down from, I don't know, maybe dreaming a little bit or, thinking they're going to get an opportunity at a little bit of a higher level, and they may have to not necessarily settle, but I think things shake out, the way it should. There's like right now at Division I, II, and III, there's over 5,000 kids in the portal. Over 4,000 are still looking for a place to play today.
Now, one thing, and this will probably be my final recruiting related question, and it will slowly transition into the, your coaching strategy and all that. When I know you say you just got the position, you haven't looked over, like, say, fully the roster yet, not like haven't really got to know everybody yet. But as far as the reach that Spalding has been able to accomplish, geographically speaking, from the furthest away from the campus itself, like what's the roster look like as far as current active players that you guys have been able to bring in?
In this current recruiting class coming in?
Yeah. Or any whether it's recruiting or the current roster?
On the current roster, we have kids from Georgia, Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky is the primary reach. Most of the kids coming in are high school kids. We have two high school kids coming from Indiana, a couple from Ohio. The rest are from Kentucky. We have a transfer coming from Ohio. And then I'll seek a couple more transfers, and I don't know where they're going to be from. We'll see. But that's just it's still the reach. That's what our current roster is still made up of. We lost a kid from Texas. He was a senior last year. We lost a reliever to graduation from Ohio. Some Kentucky kids, an Indy kid. It's in the region. It's nothing's going to change. That's where I feel it'll always be. And you might find a straggler. Heck, you might get a call from somewhere, a kid from, wherever. But we're not going to get on a plane or, go drive 10 hours to go. Do that. There are plenty of kids within a 3 to 5 hour radius of here, and a lot of that can be done over the summer. With the showcases that are around, and it's through contacts, word of mouth. There's plenty of kids out there, man. A lot of kids want to play, and that's great. It's an awesome thing.
All right, so now let's talk like your game plan. I know you sent me stuff earlier. I didn't get a chance to look over to that. I just came in just like you. But tell us, like, when it comes to pitching and say fielding, what's your overall like strategy or philosophy when it comes to your during the game operations?
Pitching and defense are. I don't think that's changed. It's been that way for a long time. Pitching and defense, I think drives the bus. That's the priority. You gotta have good arms. I mean, it's a philosophy. I mean, we used it was driven home in my head when I worked with the White Sox, and it's not like they own it. It's not like that. It's pretty common, pretty simple. You want to gotta throw strikes. You gotta throw first pitch strikes. That's great. First pitch strikes to me do two things. They make the pass to two of the first three pitches for strikes easier. And when you throw first pitch strikes, it makes it very difficult for the hitter to know what's coming. You throw a first pitch ball, you're probably going to throw a fastball on one of the next two pitches. Pretty simple. 2 out of the first 3 pitches for strikes are huge. I use baseball reference and MLB by count as a guide. In a major league season, since 1998 with 30 teams, there's about 185,000 plate appearances, about 165,000 at bats each year. Mm-hmm. Big league hitters hit below 200 in 2-strike counts. They hit above 300 in non-2-strike counts. So which guy do you want to face? You want to face the guy hitting below 200? Or you want to face the guy hitting above 300? So it doesn't mean you lay it in there either. You have to be able to command the ball a little bit. You have to be able to move the ball around within the strike zone. But the thing you can't do is try to create swings and misses or throw perfect pitches. When you try to do those things, you're going to get behind the count. You get behind the count, the advantage goes to the hitter. So just generally speaking, without knowing anything about the other team, first pitch strikes, 2 of the first 3 pitches for strikes, sub 15 pitch innings, leadoff outs. Try and do those things. Those things have nothing to do with what you threw, when you threw them. They have everything to do with you being aggressive and offensive minded. And it keeps you out of trying to be perfect. You're going to try and throw an 0 pitch on the black. 0 pitch on the black. There's the edge of the plate. That's a strike. That's a ball. It's only a strike one way. If it's off the plate, it's a ball. If you stay in the middle of the plate and down's a location too, there's nothing wrong with that either. Throw the ball down in the strike zone. I think we're in an era where velocities. Everybody's chasing velocity. Everybody's stuff oriented, and they just kick their leg and try and throw it as hard as they can or spin it or do whatever they're trying to do. And they want metrics instead of the metric I like is outs. Get the guy out, do something that's going to lead us. It's hard to hit with 2 strikes. If you go ask a hitter what he wants to hit in, he's not going to say, I'd like to go hit in a 0-2 count, 1-2 count. Hell no, he wants to hit in 2-1, 3-1, 0-0. He doesn't want to hit in damn 2-strike counts. So, you just have to keep, I think, pitchers focused on, trying to get there. That's if they're focused on, trying to get the 2 strikes as quickly as they can. I think you're in a much better place as opposed to, trying to trick everybody. And then you get into other things. Then you have to be able to situational pitch. The scoreboard, the situation, how the hitters reacted should give you an idea what you need to do. And I think that gets away from young kids. They get caught up in the moment. Me, pitcher, hitter, I got to get him out. I got to make him swing and miss. Well, not all the time. And I talk about this with recruits when they come in. If you and I are pitching and catching, you're pitching, Terry, and I'm your catcher, and they put us in a helicopter and they go drop us off in the middle of Iowa in a baseball field. A game going on. There's a game going on, and they just drop us there. And the only people we know are you and I. We know each other, and that's it. We don't know anybody else there. Before we throw the very first pitch, I have to know one thing. I have to know what the score is. First of all. Then I got to know what inning we're in. Then I can look at, okay, how many outs there are, who's on deck, and I can see the men on base. I can see, but so the scoreboard tells you a lot. The scoreboard will tell you exactly how to play the game if you let it. And far too often, I remember being in rookie ball. The last season I was coaching in rookie ball with the White Sox, and it was the first inning. We were playing the Kingsport Mets. It was the first inning of the game. We're the home team, a 9-inning game, obviously. And we get 2 quick outs. First 2 hitters of the game are out. We go 3-1 on the next hitter, and he throws a breaking ball, 3-1. I'm like, what's – we don't call pitches in pro ball. And 3-2, breaking ball. What are you doing? What's going on? What's he scared of? If he hits the ball out of the ballpark and he hits it to the moon, it's still 1-0, and we have 9 chances to score. The thing you can't do is walk a guy with 2 outs, create a big inning, things like that. So, right then, that's an inexperienced kid just going out and competing, which is fine, but then the player development piece comes into play where we have to kind of teach him and guide him. No, here's, pay attention to these other things too. What's the situation? There's a really good time for that 3-1 and 3-2 breaking ball. When the winning run, tying runs at second and in the 9th inning, and you got an open base, or you're the home team, and there's a great time for 3-2 breaking ball, 3-1 breaking ball. But far too often kids get hung up on, they just compete, which is great. They just have no idea what they're doing, and so that's our job, kind of teach them and direct them. In regards to defense, I mean, you got to make plays. You got to be, number one, positioning. I think that's the one thing that I think young kids don't understand is just general positioning. It's hard for a kid to tell the things that I think are important. Number one, you got to know what straight up is at every position. What's straight up? Because then I know if I'm playing him to pull or if I'm playing him the other way. Do I have any information on the team I'm playing? If you have information on the team you're playing, that's a little bit easier. Then we can help you with, kids that have tendencies. Do they like to pull the ball? They stay in the middle of the field. What do they do? What's the situation? Man on second, nobody out in the 5th inning in a tie game, right-handed hitter, he should be trying to hit the ball the other way to get the guy to third base. I mean, so that's going to affect who holds him at second. There's so many things that come up, but you just got to watch the game, let the scoreboard tell you what to do, and tell you, generally how to handle approaching or attacking a hitter, and then how to defend him. And because you may go out there and you have a card, now it's pretty cool to have the little cards. They look at their cards where I'm supposed to play. Well, you might throw that out the window based on what you see. Well, this card says this, but I'm not seeing this. Yeah. So then you have the sense to move around. I don't call pitches. I never have, and I don't jump out and super coach with my towel and tell everybody where to play. If we need to move a guy, we'll move a guy. But hopefully we've coached them a little bit and they understand what to do. They need to move in counts. They need to move in situations. Play where you think they're going to hit the ball. I don't know where the hell they're going to hit the ball. If I knew, I'd put all of you there, or more than one of you there. But I don't know. So it's you just gotta you gotta prepare them as best you can. And I think that's maybe what's lacking, especially at the lower levels of baseball, is that those things need to be taught. And I don't know how much they're being taught anymore, but I don't know. Those are some things that we're having to teach the college kids now. And so long answer, I guess, but
no, it was all very informative. Yeah. Now with as far as the offensive side of things, I know Chris would say stuff like, is it more of a launch angle or, power hitting or line drive hitting? That I guess that would probably depend on the individual batter themselves. according
I
to how you
pulled the numbers from Baseball Reference, and you can see the hit trajectory in the big leagues. And the thing good about that is the big leagues, we have 162 games. You have a gigantic sample size to pull numbers from. And it was by far, I can't remember the exact numbers. If I had them, I could pull them up and show you. I mean, it's, fly balls, guys hit 280. Ground balls, guys are hitting 270. I don't know what it is. But the highest one by far, line drives in the big leagues, guys hit over 600. Bunts, they hit over 500. So I think bunting can help us a little bit more. I don't think you got to go up there and bunt all the time. But it's a tool that I think is maybe underused. And then, try and hit the ball hard on the line. I mean, I personally think the teach of, getting the ball in the air or manipulating and really trying to get the ball in the air, where you hit the ball is a byproduct of where you hit it in relationship to your body. I think if you catch the ball, if the bat meets the ball near where your front foot is, even with your front foot, meaning depth wise, front to back, you'll hit the ball somewhat in the air. You'll hit the ball on a line. If you get a little too far out front, you'll pop it up. If you're a little late, you'll pop it up. If it's away from you and try and come around it, you're going to hit a soft ground ball. So just you try and want the mass of the bat and the mass of the ball to occupy the same space at the same time and try and hit the thing and try and hit it stay through it as long as you can. And then the other part of that is you got to get a good pitch to do it with. Breaking balls in the dirt, can't do it then. High fastballs, can't do it there. You got to get a good pitch to hit. If you get a good pitch to hit, and then you can put a good swing on it and just try and hit the whole ball and hit it hard and generally hit it back where it came from, you're probably better off than trying to manipulate the bat to get under the ball, to hit it in the air, to hit the ball in the ballpark. I mean, that's been the focus, and home runs have certainly gone up. I mean, at every level, home runs have gone up. But also the focus with velocity and everything. So especially in college and the minor leagues, walks are through the roof. Statistic, I have the numbers. I mean, it's not good. So I mean, that's where we are, though. That's the era that we're in. And so I think, on our club, like this year, we had 19 home runs as a team in 40-something games, 42 games. We didn't hit the ball in the ballpark. We had to bunt. We had to get on top of the ball. You had to move the ball. You had to situationally hit. You had to do those things. We talk about, when you walk to the plate, I think you either have to do one of two things. You have to get on base or you have to do something that's going to help us score runs. Fly balls and strikeouts do neither. Ever, anytime. So if nobody's on base, get on base. I don't care how you get on base. That means you can't swing 3-0. But now second base, one out. You're a third or fourth hitter, or hell, almost any hitter for that matter. You get a 3-0 count, swing the bat. And maybe if you take it, now you're going to get a breaking ball. So you want to deal with a breaking ball, you want to swing a 3-0 fastball that you can hit. Try to be sensible about it. Get something that you recognize the situation, get something that you can handle, and just try and put as good a swing as you can on, hit the whole ball as hard as you can. I would really, really discourage trying to hit the ball in the air and manipulate the ball, because bad things are going to happen. And then they become easy to pitch to, and, I don't think you're being as productive. And then you're not helping your team. You know what I mean? I mean, strike out some soft fly balls and pop-ups, man, don't do much. They don't help you score runs. And so, that's what you're trying to do. Offensively, we're trying to score runs. Defensively or from the pitching side, we're trying to prevent runs. So, do what you can to do those things. Trying to create swings and misses and throw perfect pitches don't help me prevent them from scoring runs, and getting up there and swinging out of my butt and, trying to hit the ball in the ballpark doesn't help a whole lot either.
Gotcha. And then, after you told me that stat of 19 home runs in 42 games, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So would it safe to say that once you guys get on base, you're a pretty aggressive base stealing team?
Try to be. I mean, we had what we had. I mean, I thought we were. Yeah. I thought as a team, if you go back and look at the season last year, I thought we overachieved a little bit. We were very young at every position. We only had our center fielder had some experience, had probably the most experience of anybody on our team. Our starting right fielder, our center fielder and right fielder, probably our best. Couple of our best offensive players. Didn't play a full season the year before. The guy who ended up playing first base for us caught a little bit and didn't really play a full season, but was a really important piece of our team. Other than that, we were young everywhere else. I mean, we had our DH, I think, had 8 at bats coming into his senior year. in his college career. We DH'd him. Our third baseman probably had in the neighborhood of less than 10 at-bats his entire college career. He was a senior. Our left fielder was a sophomore who had 1 at-bat the previous year. Our shortstop was a freshman. At the end of the season, our second baseman was a freshman. We'd have a freshman catcher who was a first-team all-conference player for us. We were just really, really young. We were okay on the mound, but we were really, really young. And so our first 2 weekends, we had 19 more strikeouts than we had hits. I mean, we were going up there just trying to – you can't hit it out of the ballpark. Don't try. You have no chance. So we had to focus on trying to just – you got to move the ball for one. You got to cut down on your strikeouts, and we have to do something to produce runs. We're going to have to steal bases. We're going to have to, bunt in times maybe where you ordinarily wouldn't do it, just to – because teams at our level sometimes too don't defend bunts very well. So you're trying to put a little pressure on them to score runs, and it worked for us. And I thought we had a really good year last year. Like I said, I think we overachieved a little bit, but at the same time, the guys got better. They cut down on their strikeouts. They started to move the ball more. They did a great job. We had a great season last year, despite our youth and inexperience.
Well, I mean, hopefully that will improve with these upcoming.
For sure. We'll be much better for it this year because of the experience that those guys got last year. We'll be much better for it, for sure.
Got you. So at this time, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But let me ask you, before we do that, are you a coffee drinker?
No, I can't stand it.
All right. Well,
my vice is Diet Cokes.
So this one won't pertain to you then. But this is a word from our sponsor here. Our sponsor, Cocaine Coffee. So do a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back, folks. Folks, that was a word from our sponsor, Cocaine Coffee. I promise there is no cocaine in there. Otherwise, the FDA would have probably caught it by now, as well as some other certain agencies. But as you guys saw there, the code is Villains15. You get 15% off your first order. So thank you, Cocaine Coffee, for the sponsorship. And now we're done with the, your strategy and everything. Now we're going to kind of go into some of the kind of like juicier stuff, little personal stuff, as well as the lighter side for, the remainder of the show. Now, obviously, you've been coaching for a very, quite a while, many different levels as we discussed prior to the show. Is there like certain war stories you'd like to share with us? And you would like just, one that comes to mind. It don't have to be, what do you call it?
There's all kinds. I mean, there's all kinds. It depends on what you wanted to talk about. The one, it was funny. We were just in Cincinnati, and when I worked with the White Sox, I was Pete Rose Jr.'s pitching coach for a couple years in Bristol, Tennessee, actually. And so his son PJ is coming to play for us at Spalding this year. He's transferring from LaSalle. So I took some of our travel ball kit. I coached my son's 17U travel team. And so we were in Cincinnati. So we took the kids. Petey said, come on and hit. So I took 4 or 5 of our kids and my son over to a local indoor facility, and we went and hit with Petey. And so it just brought up a lot of stories. We were telling a lot of crazy or silly stories that went on. And I always thought I always thought the funniest one, because I never, all the while I was with him, I never did meet his dad, but it was funny because he would obviously talk to his dad during the season. And in Bristol, that's our lowest level at the time. So that's where we had our, some first-year college guys, our second-year high school kids, young Latin American kids. It was our lowest level. And then the Appalachian League's advanced rookie ball. So everyone else there, that's usually their second lowest level. So you have second and third-year players in rookie ball there. So we weren't very good. We were a little overmatched at times. But so we lost some games, and we kept having to use. I had in the minor leagues, you draft kids, especially guys that go fairly high. We had a 5th round pick that year that we kept using, a reliever, and he had a rough go of it. He wasn't getting it done. We lose a game here or there. He'd pitch, and we'd end up losing a lot of those games there for a little stretch. And he said, "Why you keep throwing this?" He said his last name. "Why you keep throwing this kid?" Petey Sr. was talking to Pete Jr., talking to him about the season. "Why you keep throwing this kid?" And he said, "Well, Dad, it's, minor league baseball. It's player development. The kid's got to pitch, regardless of how well he's doing. Wins and losses aren't the thing. It's player development." He said, "Well, fire the pitching coach then," which was me. So I'm catching heat from the hit king, and, good Lord, what's he think of me? But that was one of the, I don't know, a clean one, a funny one, just kind of amusing that, but that's, Petey's dad didn't play a lot of minor league baseball. He played games that count, that these wins count. That's all he was about, is, that was a big piece of it, winning games. And so to him, it was kind of, I think, hard to relate to, "Oh man, go win the game, pitch your best guys, play your best guys." No, we can't. It's player development. You got to play, you got to develop them. You have to play them regardless of how, well they're doing or poor they're doing at times. So that was funny. That's really neat. There was another one in San Diego with Ricky Henderson. It was about the time that they put in, you had to keep a foot in the box.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rule where the hitter had to keep a foot in the box. And old school base, before, I don't even know when that came into place. This was 2005, so it was a little bit before then. Mm-hmm. You took a ball, you ball strike, whatever, you could step out of the box. You could do whatever you want. But if the pitch was a ball, or a called strike, I think if you swung at the pitch, you could get out of the box. Or if the ball knocked you off the plate, you're out of the box. You could get out of the box. But if you took a ball or whatever, or if it took a strike, you had to keep a foot in the box to help speed the game up. And you'd see umpires a lot of times, they would take their hand and they would be telling you, "Hey, keep a foot in the box," and he'd motion his hand to tell the hitter to keep the foot in the box. Well, Ricky didn't like the strike call. It was a ball. It was a pitch that the umpire called a strike, and he didn't like it. And so he, walked out and, showed his displeasure and was probably saying stuff to the umpire. And the umpire kept telling him, "Get in the box, get in the box." And that was foreign to him. He didn't know anything. It was like that. No, he played in the Hall of Fame big league player. He's not foot in the box. I can do what I want. I don't have to put a foot in the box. And he threw him out of the game. And he threw him out of the game, and which kind of stunk, because I'm sure everybody at the ballpark there was more likely there to see him that night. So they threw the only guy out that was there to watch the game to see. And so I ended up going back in the clubhouse, and he was back there, and he was kind of taking his stuff off. And I explained the rule to him, and that he just literally didn't know about it. I mean, and why would he? Why would he know that? I wouldn't expect him to know that. But it was just because he just didn't know the rule. And it was just kind of funny.
With the rule like that, it doesn't seem like it's a major change in the sport, like overall. Like that's like something they would consider.
At the time, it was kind of like, really? You're going to make us do that? They were doing it in college, I know for sure. And then they were doing it. And then it evolved into the minor leagues. But they weren't doing it in the big leagues. And and Ricky had never experienced that, apparently. But, yeah, he didn't know he had to keep a foot in the box. So they threw him out of the game, which was kind of silly. But I just thought it was kind of, considering who he was and everything, it was just wild. Kind of neat. Kind of cool.
So that's fun. Like you mentioned Ricky Henderson. You also mentioned your story with Pete Rose. And remind me, later on, I'll send you a picture because I actually met Pete Rose in, of all places, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And it was at Caesar's Palace, and it was like a sports memorabilia store. I think it was called like the Form Ball. I don't know. It was kind of like a time capsule kind of thing, right? So I just happened to be walking by, looked up, saw the store. I looked up first. He was actually in front of the store signing autographs at the table. I looked up, about to walk by, and I just kind of glanced, and I saw him. Like, I had to take a double take because I'll admit I kind of partied hard the night before.
Right.
So I'm doing this to make sure my vision ain't failing me, right? So I see him. I'm like, oh God, that's Pete Rose. I'm like, and I walked up and I talked to the employee there. It was off to the side. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? He's like, oh, he's signing autographs. Such price for this. And I'm like, oh, count me in. Went right in the store, got a picture. It's actually a picture of the night he broke the hit record when he was gave his salute to the fans and everything against the San Diego Padres. So I'll have to be sure to send you that picture after the show.
You know who the pitcher was? Remember who the pitcher was?
That I do not know.
I'm pretty sure it was Eric Shao. And then Eric Shao was later on pretty famous. Remember when he hit Andre Dawson in the face and then the big brawl broke out? That same guy.
Oh, wow.
Pretty sure it was Eric Shao.
But like the best part of that one was this day I was actually wearing an old, like a throwback Mike Schmidt Phillies jersey.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't too deep in as far as his history with the game. I knew he played for the Reds.
Yeah.
I knew it's now one thing I didn't know at the time is that he played with the Phillies as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Expos.
So, yeah. Oh, Expos. Okay. There we go. I found something else out today.
Yeah.
So I went up to him and I got to the line. And he saw my jersey, he had a smile, and then he's like, you know anything about Mike Schmidt? I'm like, oh, I know he's a really good third baseman for the Phillies. It's like, but I'm sure you have more information to give me. As he's signing my picture, he's like, okay, well, 1 second. So after he signed my picture, he had him bring a chair out. So he actually had me sit next to him while he's signing autographs, and he's actually talking baseball about Mike Schmidt with me and everything. So I was like, one of those things I was, forever cherish.
Yeah, that's great. Those are awesome. That's what I liked. I liked about like my time with the White Sox, or any time, or hell, my time with Dave Anderson at Memphis, or just being around guys that, I either, grew up watching or, was a little older and got to see play in the big leagues. I never played in the big leagues. So it was just really, really neat to me. And then having the opportunity to sit around and pick brains, and I'd go out for early work with different groups. I'd go out and watch the infielders, or go out and watch the catchers, be with the catching coordinator. I was with the catching coordinator quite a bit, Johnny Orton. I really like being around him and get to, I don't know, just see guys that you got to watch play. That was really cool. I really loved my trip into the ballpark during spring training because it was an opportunity to be around all those people. It was really, really, really neat, really, and really valuable to me.
Yeah, I bet. I'm always going to cherish that. That's why it hit me kind of hard whenever, he passed, because to the fact I actually got to meet him, and it hit me different.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Now, as we know, everyone faces adversity. So this is kind of like a scenario question for you. You're on a losing streak. Everything's like not working out for you, and you kind of need everything you're trying to implement isn't working out, right? And then you're like, oh, what do I do now? So who's the one person you're gonna talk to, whether on your phone, on the bus, team, family, whatever the case may be, to kind of help you get your head on right, remotivate you, and get back out there and let's go ahead and end that slump?
Gosh, I think it depends on what maybe I feel the root cause is. I want to call somebody if I needed to talk to somebody that maybe specializes in whatever we're not doing so well. What's leading to our losses? Is it?
Well, okay, let me help you out. It'll be like from a more personal standpoint, like something you're feeling, not necessarily like, gameplay stuff. It's just something like you're thinking in your head, like, should I be doing this anymore? Or
I don't know. I could call. I don't know. There's a lot of people to call. I'd call here in town. You got the guy that I'm really close with is Ben Reel, who's the head baseball coach at Bellarmine right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of my former assistants, Chris Dominguez or Terry Davis at Western Illinois. Chris Dominguez is a hitting coach at Miami. TD's the head coach at Western Illinois.
Miami, Ohio, or Miami Hurricanes?
Miami Hurricanes. Yeah, Chris Dominguez played here at Louisville, played in the big leagues with the Giants, and was All-American at Louisville. Yeah, he was my assistant. He was one of my assistants at Bellarmine for 2 stints, 2 different years. I don't know if it's more managerial stuff, more game stuff. Maybe, I'd call probably Dave Anderson or PD Jr. Needed more. I mean, haven't had to. I remember when I was looking for jobs or trying to get back in baseball, I leaned on, quite a few people, but tried to get on the pro end. Called Buddy Bell, who was a former boss of mine. He was our farm director. There's quite a few. Just like I said, it kind of depends. If you just kind of, God, what am I doing? Do I need to do this anymore? I don't know. I'd probably call Ben or Mingo or TD, Jim McGuire, Volunteer State and Gallatin, a good friend of mine. I mean, there's a lot of folks to call, and that's good. I'm lucky to have, quite a few. I don't know that there's just one. Call a lot of people.
Well, that seems like very good because it seems like you already got somebody for a different scenario, whatever the case may be. Because you may call this one person, but they might not understand the scenario like, this person was. So, so now we're gonna get into the lighter side things, and always since Chris is not here, I like to ask these questions on his behalf. So let's say Chris and I are gonna go to Kentucky. And I've already told my wife I actually do want to go to Kentucky, especially Louisville, because I want to get a bat made. I want to go to the baseball bat museum and everything.
Right.
So we're going to go meet you. You're going to host us. So the question that's always on Chris's mind is, are you going to cook for us, or are you going to take us out of town and we're going to go get some local eats?
We can do both, but you got to go eat. You got to go eat. You got to get out and go eat.
Yeah.
If it's something low key, just something quick, I got to go to Bandito's burrito place here in Louisville. Love it.
Love it.
Great. Just simple burrito and a drink. Be great. Variety of places to go sit down and eat. I mean, there's just too many to name. Just good Lord. It just depends on what you want. I don't go out a lot, but there's plenty of places. You have to go somewhere where you can get you a Kentucky hot brown, I guess. I'm not a big fan of them, but you'd have to go someplace to get a Kentucky hot brown.
Now, for those of us who don't know, myself included, what is that exactly?
I'm pretty sure turkey gravy over a slice of bread or something of the sort. It's not too fancy, but people love it, I guess. That's a dish here, believe it or not. Kentucky hot brown. And they can doll it up and make it nicer than I'm explaining it, but generally it's turkey gravy over some bread, dolled up in some other.
Is the bread even toasted, or is it just like soft bread?
I may have had it once in my life. It's not but that's people want it when they get here.
Tell you what, we'll go to Bandito's. I'll do the burrito thing. Yeah,
I like the burrito. I like the surf and turf, the steak and shrimp burrito. I'm down.
Oh God, yeah, that does sound good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as the overall atmosphere at the stadium. For me, if I'm going to go see a game at Spalding University, obviously I don't want to just see any old game. I've always been a fan of going to see rival games.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone who doesn't know Spalding University the way you guys do, if I want to go see a Spalding game, who's the rival team that's going to just have you guys flowing motivation and just show something a little more special?
There's 2 non-conference. Non-conference would be Transylvania and Lexington, and then conference game would be Webster over in St. Louis. So the Webster series, the Webster Conference Series is a really good one. Really, it's a good rivalry. And then in-state is against Transylvania. They're down in Lexington, Kentucky. Really good program in a different conference, so that they're non-conference games. And typically those non-conference games, when we play them, you want to be not midweek night games. We both have lights. They play at the Lexington Legends, the old minor league ballpark in Lexington. And our ballpark at Derby City Field has lights. So those would be the games to attend, man.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely keep that in mind. So real quick, I'd like to give a shout out to the currently 91 people watching live, tuning in as we talk with Coach Larry Owens here from Spalding University. Thank you all for tuning in this Sunday evening. Now we're going to start to kind of like wind things down. Before we go, I just asked that, say, after the show, I just got a couple more questions I'd like to ask with you off air. But kind of like the beginning of the show, I gave you a chance, introduce yourself and everything. At this time, is there anybody you'd like to give shouts out to? One or two, whatever you want. And then also, I'd like to help increase the following for you guys. For those who may not know, if you'd like to give your social accounts, whether X, Facebook for you as well as the baseball team, if you'd like to mention those as well after you give your shout outs to your support system.
Yeah, I mean, if I couldn't do this if it wasn't for my wife, Kelly, I couldn't do any of this. I wouldn't, I walked away from a pretty good job as an AD to, get back in baseball. And, it's both are very time consuming and, take you away from your family. But, I couldn't do it without her at all. It wouldn't happen, her and then the support of her and my kids would be, that's easy. That's an easy one to, discuss. In regards to social media stuff, if you just type in Spalding Baseball on any of those social media accounts, Twitter, I don't think we have a Facebook page, but I'm on Twitter and Facebook. Just type in my name and or Spalding Baseball, and those accounts will come right up. The Spalding Baseball Twitter account is at SpaldingUBSB. And I think my Twitter handle is, it's at LOW 0501. Pretty sure that's it. Or you type in the name and it would come up. But no, we try and stay pretty active on social media, especially, obviously, especially during the season. But, it's a good avenue to reach people. And it's really become, with recruits. Since being back in again, now I get a lot of the high school kids start following you, because they want to get on your radar and they want to play, which is great. So it's pretty cool, pretty good stuff.
Got you. All right. Well, I'm just going to, thank everyone who tuned in tonight. Just one quick announcement. If everything goes next week, now next week's show is going to be a little different. We're going to do a pre-recording due to scheduling with our guests. But if all goes well, we'll do a pre-recording and then we'll post it, same great time, Sunday evening here on the Golden Broom. But next week's interview should be with Coach Heller out of Iowa. So
Rick Heller. Yeah.
Yes.
Good one.
So that's the latest for next week. Now for my show on this coming Wednesday, I had the pleasure of interviewing Coach Christopher Crenshaw out of Southern University. So I look forward to that. This will be the first historically Black university I've ever had the opportunity to interview, and I look forward to hearing all about baseball from Southern University. Well, for the 96 people watching, everyone that's tuned in, I thank you again for coming in. Thank you, Coach, for joining us. I know you're probably worn out from the road. I promise I won't keep you long after the show. That way you can get back to resting up. And
when you coming to Louisville?
That I'll let you know. I will let you know for sure. I'm hoping next year or two.
Come on.
I will. I said you guys got that baseball factory. I already told my wife that. Of course, there's other things, but my main thing is I want to get a custom bat made. I've always liked that kind of like wine colored, that dark red colored bat. So I want to get one of those done up for me.
Oh yeah,
I will for sure hit you up there.
Come on, come see us.
We won't do that. gravy on bread thing, though.
Oh, Kentucky Hot Brown. We'll go get something else. We'll go get you a glass of bourbon too.
Perfect. Stogies?
You can. I won't. I'll watch you.
But yeah, so thank you all very much, and we will see you next week on the Golden Broom.